Have you ever witnessed a moment so pure that it melts your heart and gives you hope for the future? In today's story, we follow Quang, a man weighed down by despair who finds unexpected strength in imagining his daughter Sophia's first steps and joyful laughter. From the tender vision of Sophia learning to walk, to the warmth of Linda's encouraging smile, and finally to Quang's unwavering resolve to rebuild his life and career for his family, this tale reminds us of the transformative power of love and hope. Stay with us, subscribe, and let this heartwarming journey inspire you. In the midst of his deepest despair, Quang found himself lost in thought, his mind heavy with worries and a sense of helplessness that seemed impossible to shake. The weight of failures, setbacks in his career, and the endless pressures of life had been pressing down on him relentlessly, leaving him feeling hollow and exhausted. He sat alone in the quiet of his room, the world outside continuing its indifferent rhythm, and for a moment, the thought of giving up whispered to him like a dangerous lullaby. But then, almost instinctively, his thoughts drifted to Sophia, his precious little daughter, and the image of her brought a faint, unexpected warmth into the cold corners of his heart. In his mind's eye, he saw her tiny, wobbly legs trying to find balance as she took her first tentative steps across the living room floor. Her chubby little hands reached out for support, but more often than not, she relied on her own determination, the purest form of courage Quang had ever witnessed. Her golden hair caught the light streaming through the window, and her eyes sparkled with an innocence and joy so profound that it seemed to momentarily lift the shadows from his soul. He could almost hear the soft, delighted giggles that escaped her lips with every successful step, the sound as delicate and uplifting as the sweetest music. Quang imagined himself right there, kneeling just a few feet away, his hands ready to catch her if she stumbled, but also giving her the space to conquer the small but monumental challenge of learning to walk on her own. Then he pictured her sitting proudly in the little walker they had bought for her tiny fingers gripping the edges as she maneuvered it with the mixture of concentration and gleeful determination. She would wobble and sway, sometimes veering off course, only to correct herself with a triumphant grin, as though she were already aware of the immense joy her progress brought to her parents. In that moment, Quang could almost feel the warmth radiating from her small body, a tangible reminder that even the smallest heart could carry an extraordinary light capable of dispelling the heaviest darkness. Her laughter, bright and unrestrained, echoed in his mind, and with every imagined squeal of joy, a little piece of his despair melted away. Quang's heart softened as he envisioned Linda beside him, kneeling on the floor with a smile that reflected equal parts pride and awe. He imagined her hair falling gently over her shoulders as she encouraged Sophia, her voice tender yet filled with excitement, each word reinforcing the bond of their small but complete family. The sight of his wife's eyes glistening with unshed tears of happiness, the soft touch of her hand brushing against his as they both shared this intimate, silent moment, struck him profoundly. In that imagined scene, all the bitterness of the world, the disappointments, the setbacks, the relentless pressures, faded into insignificance. Nothing seemed more real or more vital than the joy emanating from his daughter, the love radiating from his wife, and the unspoken promise that, despite everything, family was the anchor he could hold on to. As Quang lingered in this mental tableau, he realized that even in the darkest moments, hope could exist in the simplest of things: a child's laughter, a first step, a tiny hand reaching for yours. For the first time in what felt like forever, he allowed himself to smile, to feel a spark of motivation ignite deep within his chest. The vision of Sophia's happiness was not just a fleeting distraction, it was a lifeline, a reason to stand up, to fight, and to believe that no matter how steep the climb, he could rebuild, not only for himself, but for the precious life that depended on him. In the midst of despair, this imagined moment of innocence and triumph became a beacon, guiding Quang toward a future he had almost forgotten was possible. As the image of Sophia's tiny, determined steps lingered in his mind, Quang felt an unexpected wave of peace washing over him, softening the rough edges of his despair. It was as if, in that brief, imagined moment, all the failures and frustrations of his life had been set aside, rendered insignificant by the simple, profound joy radiating from his daughter. He could almost hear the faint rustle of her little feet against the floor, the quiet swish of her walker as she navigated the room with the mixture of curiosity and determination. And in that sound, a rhythm emerged, a rhythm of life, of hope, of renewal that soothed his restless spirit. Every imagined squeal, every triumphant clap of her hands resonated within him like a gentle reminder that even amidst hardship, there could be moments of pure, unadulterated happiness. Quang's gaze drifted toward Linda in his mind, and he felt an overwhelming gratitude for the woman who had been his unwavering companion through both joy and pain. He imagined her kneeling beside Sophia, her eyes brimming with pride, her smile so radiant that it seemed to illuminate the entire room. She whispered words of encouragement, her voice carrying a tenderness that only a mother could summon, and Quang felt it echo in his own heart. He realized that this small family, this delicate but resilient circle of love, was the reason he could endure the burdens that life placed upon him. The thought of losing this, even for a moment, made his chest tighten, not with fear alone, but with the fierce, protective love that only a father could feel. In that imagined scene, Quang allowed himself to remember what truly mattered. The deadlines, the meetings, the relentless pursuit of success, all of it faded into the background, dwarfed by the importance of a child's laughter, a mother's gentle touch, and the unspoken promise of family unity. The trivial worries that had once consumed him seemed almost absurd now, shadows of a world that could not touch the warmth of his heart when it was filled with the light of his daughter's joy. He pictured himself gently reaching out to Sophia as she teetered, catching her with a careful, loving hand, and feeling the trust in her small eyes, a trust so absolute and unwavering that it struck him to his core. In that trust, he found not only motivation, but also clarity. The path forward was not through anger, frustration, or despair, but through persistence, resilience, and an unshakable commitment to the people who loved him unconditionally. The vision of their shared laughter and tender interactions carried him deeper into reflection. He imagined the three of them together, a tableau of joy that contrasted sharply with the harsh realities outside the imagined room. Every giggle of Sophia became a small victory, a beacon of light guiding him through the darkness. He thought about the life he wanted to provide for her, a life full of love, security, and opportunities he had once feared he could never offer. And in that moment, Quang made a silent vow to himself. He would push forward, no matter the obstacles, no matter the failures, because the stakes were no longer merely personal. They were profoundly and beautifully familial. Even in the quiet of his solitude, he could feel a fire ignite within him, fueled by the imagined laughter of his child and the radiant warmth of Linda's gaze. This vision, though conjured in his mind during the time of despair, had the power to transform his present reality. It reminded him that hope often comes in small, seemingly ordinary moments that carry extraordinary meaning when one knows what is truly worth fighting for.
Quang realized that the purest motivation did not lie in ambition, accolades, or wealth, but in the ability to witness a child's first steps, to share in her triumphs, and to be the steadfast protector of her joy. The memory of that imagined afternoon lingered, settling into his soul, like a soft, enduring flame, one that would guide him, steady and unwavering, through every challenge that lay ahead.
As the warmth of that imagined afternoon settled firmly in his heart, Quang felt a renewed sense of purpose rising within him. He knew that the path ahead would not be easy. Rebuilding his career, reclaiming stability, and securing a better future for Sophia and Linda would demand every ounce of determination he had. Yet, the vision of his daughter's laughter, the sparkle in her eyes, and the gentle encouragement of Linda's presence had infused him with the strength he had thought lost. For the first time in months, he felt a clarity that cut through the fog of despair. Every challenge, every setback was a stepping stone, a necessary part of the journey toward creating a life filled with love, security, and joy for the family he cherished above all else. He imagined waking up each morning with a renewed commitment, fueled not by ambition alone, but by the responsibility and privilege of fatherhood. Sophia's tiny hands, her trust, her innocence, these were treasures that demanded protection, guidance, and unwavering devotion. Quang envisioned himself walking into the office not with a sense of dread, but with quiet determination, carrying the thought of Sophia's first steps and giggles with him like a shield against doubt and fatigue. Each business decision, each late night, and each moment of sacrifice would no longer feel burdensome. Instead, they would be acts of love, investments in the happiness and well-being of the little life that depended so completely on him. He pictured evenings spent with Linda and Sophia, simple moments that became profound anchors of his existence. The sight of Sophia reaching out for her father after a day of learning and exploring, the sound of her laughter echoing in their home, and the tender glance exchanged with Linda. All of these details, real or imagined, crystallized in Quang's mind as the ultimate measures of success. Success was no longer defined by numbers, contracts, or recognition, but by the ability to nurture, protect, and cherish the family that had become the center of his universe. The thought alone carried him through moments of fatigue, self-doubt, and frustration, reminding him that every small effort mattered when weighed against the life he hoped to create for Sophia and Linda. In his mind, he also imagined the celebrations yet to come: Sophia's first day at school, her first bicycle ride, birthdays filled with joy, and quiet evenings of storytelling before bed. Each milestone became a symbol of the future he was determined to build. A future where laughter outweighed tears, where love outweighed fear, and where hope outweighed despair. Even during the darkest nights, the vision of these moments served as a beacon, a constant reminder that he was not alone in his struggle. The family he loved, the life he was rebuilding, and the dreams he nurtured for Sophia's happiness were inseparable from the man he was becoming: resilient, patient, and unwavering in his pursuit of what truly mattered. And so, with a deep exhale that seemed to release months of tension, Quang allowed himself to embrace the promise of tomorrow. He would strive tirelessly, face obstacles with courage, and never relinquish his resolve, because the stakes were far greater than his own comfort or pride. They rested in the small hands of a child learning to walk, in the laughter of a daughter discovering the world, and in the eyes of a woman who had stood by him through every hardship. In that realization, Quang found a profound peace, tempered with determination. No matter how difficult the journey, no matter how heavy the burdens, he would endure, he would fight, and he would build a life worthy of the love that sustained him. The imagined joy of Sophia's tiny triumphs had become his guiding light,
a force so potent that it could carry him through anything. And as he held that vision close, he felt certain that together, their family could overcome all adversity and step into a future filled with hope, laughter, and endless love.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Lý Tử Ninja Review. Vậy là trong tập phim ngày hôm nay của chúng ta thì Quang đã có những lúc cảm thấy rất là tuyệt vọng và cô đơn. Anh cảm thấy mình bây giờ không còn gì trong tay cả. Niềm hy vọng duy nhất của anh chính là Ninja, và anh đang tưởng tượng ngày mà bé Sophia, con gái của Quang, Ninja chào đời, và đến khi mà bé bước lên bước đi đầu tiên, chỉ cần nghĩ đến những khoảnh khắc hạnh phúc đó thôi, anh lại có thêm niềm tin, động lực để tiếp tục chiến đấu với cuộc sống, gây dựng lại sự nghiệp để cho mẹ con Nina và Sophia cuộc sống tốt đẹp hơn. Mọi câu chuyện hấp dẫn hơn sẽ còn được hé lộ ở các tập tiếp theo. Các bạn hãy bấm vào đăng ký kênh để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về tập phim sẽ phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh nha. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại. Bye bye.